Good afternoon, Lisa. Thank you very much for the privilege of being able to interview you today.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to be here.
That's very nice to meet you and be able to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind. I wanted to start, please, if we could, with the latest album, Seven.
Yeah.
And I know that was released earlier in the year,
Mm.
and that you've brought out an enhanced version of it very recently.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask you all about it. Tell us all about the enhanced version and so on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we released the album, and then we thought, because of the nature of what we do, and it's very much sort of, we have very much of a soul following. So we just thought it'd be brilliant to do a lot of remixes, and a lot of people were interested to do remixes. So it was lovely to do all that. Yeah.
I've seen you got some very big remix names on there, actually, some very well known, so Polopo and so on. So it must be very exciting for you to sort of hear those coming out, because I guess they took
I've
the original...
literally not. I've only heard them like 2 or 3 times, and because when I'm working, and I've done an album, and then you do the remixes, it sort of messes your head up a little bit, because you've got used to an album the way it is, and then you detach yourself from it, and then when you start to listen to remixes, it's really like freaky at first, because it's like, oh, that's not my record. but after a while, it's absolutely fine. So at first, I just lay back on it, and I just let it do what it does. Yeah.
Which is great, and kind of pushes your tunes into some other genres as well, sort of more of a
yeah,
housey
hopefully,
funk and so on.
yeah.
Which is always a good place. Get people of all sort of dance eras, shall we say, dancing to it.
Yeah.
Moving to it. That's wonderful. So I just wanted to, if it's okay, go back in time and talk to you a little bit about the early beginnings of your career, going back to when Lisa Stansfield was just Lisa Stansfield the person, not Lisa Stansfield the singer, and how that came about.
Well, I mean, I was in a band called Blue Zone, and our second single became like a big hit, and like underground, and we didn't understand why, because it was like a pop sort of thing, and the B-side was a massively groove, like a rare groove sort of thing called Big Thing, and we realised that it had been selling, because all the clubs in London had been buying. Everyone had been buying it because it was a massive club hit, and we didn't even realise. And after we found out, we much to the chagrin of the record company, we pulled the album, and we said we don't want to let this album out, because we know where we're going, and we know what we're good at.
Yeah.
And so and then we started to make another album, and then we worked with Cold Cut, and because of the what was going on at the time, it was like a band featuring an artist, and so my name was on the record, and it became a massive hit.
People hold on.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so then it was like, well, there you go, love. You carry it all on your own, and the other team members of the band were very relieved, because they hated doing anything like that. But I was so upset. I cried my eyes out at first.
Yeah.
I can't do it all on my own. I want to do it.
Because they offered you a solo deal on the basis of that tune, didn't they? And
yeah, but it was always like a band thing. It's never been just about me. I've always maintained that it's never about one person. There's a lot of people involved.
Yes.
And it's it's like a bloody circus troupe sometimes, isn't it? You're all supporting each other and mend and make do and all that sort of thing.
Going back to Blue Zone, just for one question, you had the song "On Fire," which was pulled because of the King's Cross
fire disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it was doing extremely well in the charts as well at the time, wasn't it?
It was really. It really
had
was.
The makings of a good hit.
And it was a lovely song. Still is a lovely song, but no, I'm sort of glad that it happened, because I'm glad that it happened the way it did, because I think fate has got a lot to do with everything. And I'm not saying that it was fate that there was a fire disaster, please God,
Yes.
But yeah, I think that everything sort of happens for a reason, to some extent,
Yeah, yeah.
You need to try hard and you need to work hard, but I think things sometimes, often, like a jigsaw puzzle, they just fall into place.
Yeah. So how old were you when you sort of first discovered that you had a singing voice? I mean, what sort of started that off?
Well, not that I had a voice, but I realised that I really loved to sing when I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just loved the way that it felt. I loved the freedom that it made me feel, that I could just lose myself. And I probably sounded absolutely awful at the time, but yeah, I probably sound considerably better than I did when I was 5.
I'm sure you sounded absolutely lovely when you were 5, but do you remember any early performances or anything like that when you were really young?
Oh, I used to sing in the schoolyard all the time.
Well, what did you sing?
Used to sing anything that I could think of. I used to sing a lot of my mum's favourite songs, like Baby Love and a lot of Motown stuff. And I should have really taken the initiative at primary school and started to charge.
Well, professional at the age of 5. That would be
you get yourself a bucket.
That's fabulous. And what about when you were in your teens? What were you listening to? What were your sort of?
Oh, I was
favourites?
weird in my teens actually, because it was sort of like soul music was a little bit jaded at that time, and then there was there'd been the punk thing, and then the new romantic thing, and I was so all my friends were into new romantics, and I used to get dressed up in the most ridiculous clothes and paint snakes on my head and things like that, and you know what you do with your arms.
Yes.
And God, if I looked at myself now, I'd die. If I went to Rebecca's in Bury.
Because success for you sort of came very early with a talent competition, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in near Stockport. It's called the Talk of the North, and it's funny because when I was doing all that new romantic thing, secretly I was just listening to all the stuff that I really liked,
the soul-y stuff and the Motown stuff.
Like Chaka Khan and all that sort of thing. And so it just sort of all came into its own, really. And when I did that competition, I was lucky. I was really lucky because one of the judges was a producer from Granada TV called Johnny Hamp, and it was funny because I beat Sean Ryder's dad. I came first and he came second.
Oh, that's good news.
And he has actually said that he thinks that it was crap that I won and he didn't, It's like this young whippersnapper. No, I've met him since, and he's all right, but I think he still holds a grudge.
Oh, right, okay. Well, when I talk to him, I'll ask him.
Good.
We'll find out. Because you were then sort of signed to the same year, in the same year to Polydor Records, weren't you? Back in quite some time back.
Yeah, I was a long time ago. Yeah.
And TV appearances, the head of Light Entertainment, bring me the head of Light Entertainment on ITV. That was something that you were also in as well.
What's that?
The TV program, bring me the head of Light Entertainment was what I was told it was called.
No.
Wow, that's. I think it says that on your website.
Oh, well, I hope it doesn't.
I'll check my information.
Oh, you don't mean video entertainers?
It could possibly be that. Yeah.
On Granada.
Yeah, it was on Granada.
They were like really weird programs. Like they were like variety programs as variety was going out, and now it's come back in again.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Mm.
We thought we'd got rid of it. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on then that, you know, I was 14 years old, and if I'd have complained about what I was doing, I would have been the precocious brat and the precocious teenager.
Yeah.
So I just kept my mouth shut, but I did have a bad time because it wasn't anything like I wanted to do. And so from then I went on to do Razzmatazz.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. I remember that, and the Crankies Club, I believe, as well.
Oh my God!
I had to bring that up.
Do you know what
I'm
was
sorry,
so funny, right? No, because it was really funny because I was sitting in. Me and Ian, my husband, we were staying in London, and our friend Mark had come to see us in the hotel bar, and we were just having a drink in the bar. And then all of a sudden the Crankies walked in. And they sat up at the bar. And Mark said, Ian's friend, Mark said, you know, it's the bloody Crankies. And so I went, oh, I know the Crankies. And Mark and Ian's eyes nearly popped out of their heads. And they thought I was joking, and I walked over to him at the bar and I started talking to him, and we were like having a little love and a cuddle and all that. And I went back to Mark and Ian, and they were just like just looked at me with like incredulity. It was like, what is going on? Yeah, so I do. Yeah, I've met quite a few people.
Yeah, and you were involved in a show with them, and
no, I was only on. I only sang one song on. They had like a series on TV.
Yeah, I remember the series. Yeah.
I wasn't part of the furniture on that show. No.
I didn't have
I was too tall.
Yeah, good point. What about the documentary that was done on you? I mean, that was.
Oh, in the early days.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was a Granada thing as well. I don't know. It's just at that age, I think it's something that you just go along with. But I thought it was lovely that they thought I was so talented that they would give me that much like time. But at that time in my life as well, it was the sort of thing that as a 14-year-old girl is really embarrassing, because you wouldn't want to watch anyone on TV like that. And so all my friends thought that I was really cool when I went to school, but I thought that they were just all taking the mickey out of me, because I thought what I was doing wasn't very cool at all.
Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, two different perspectives.
So I've always been a real stickler for things like that, because it's very, very easy to misconstrue things, you know, like, and perceive things in the wrong way.
I can understand that.
Mm.
I wanted to ask you about, well, starting with Affections, really. Affection, your album, your first album with the big hit for you, All Around the World, on, which was massive. I just wanted to understand more about how that felt for you and releasing that tune and it going so, well, just, it was mega popular worldwide, wasn't it? And I just wondered, if you could tell us a little bit about what that was like for you, how that felt, what it did.
Really freaky. Yeah, it's like you're like a girl from Rochdale, and you've been wanting this all the time, and then when it happens it to such a degree that you just can't keep up with it. I remember opening Billboard and seeing like the world chart thing.
Yes.
And it was like, it was #1 on like 20 countries all at the same time, and it was really weird. It was very strange, and it was like everyone wants you to be in their place.
Yes.
But you I mean, there's only one of you, and there's only so much energy and sleep that you could, and it's funny because at that time, I mean, I could have been like doing coke all the time, and that would have kept me going, but I kept myself going. And I think that it's been really good for me, because I think if I'd have like done drugs to keep me going at that point, because a lot of people did, and everybody does, because it's like you literally have to be superhuman to do things like this. No, and I'm really glad, because I think I've gained a lot of sanity, because I think you can lose your mind a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I think I've kept a lot of sanity, and I've retained quite a lot of energy within myself, because I didn't get rid of it then by the wrong means, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I think, going multi-platinum in so many countries as well, and gold in others, I mean, it was just a major success. It must have just been almost a fairy tale, I'd have thought, at the time.
Well, it is a fairy tale.
There's a lot of work
for
as well.
a while, and and then you just forget about it, because all you have to think about is what you're doing, and and it's like a lot of travel, and it's a lot of work, but you have to look at it and think, this is what I have achieved. This is what we've all achieved with this team of people.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible when you look at it like that, and it's all been worth it.
Yeah, certainly. Work touring around all of that lot, and
well, it was a little bit, because on the second album, the first album had come out a lot later in the US, and it's like South America, than it had done in Europe and the UK. So we were literally, promotion-wise, I was flying from like New York, LA to London and back all the time, like nearly every week. And but when I think back on it, it was absolutely ridiculous what I did. And I think that it was slightly wrong, because I think it should have been handled better. But when things like that escalate and snowball out of all proportion, you don't really have time to plan anything at all. But yeah, I think I bore the brunt of it travel-wise.
Well, All Around the World was testament to that, and This Is the Right Time. Well, you definitely released that at the right time, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And because you had that sound that was obviously so much in demand at the time.
Yeah.
What do you think was behind, what created that sound with you? Obviously your vocals, but what do you think the combination was that made that so
Well, I do think a lot of it was Ian's orchestration and Ian's arrangements and musicality. because he had such an amazingly like strong idea and a strong will
Yes.
to do all this, you know, and he still has. He can be quite stubborn. But
in a good way, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and I can as well. I mean, I won't do anything that I don't really want to, and I'll
heard
stick
that.
to my
Yeah.
guns.
Yeah.
No, because what's the point of doing anything anywhere? People know that you don't want to do it. They can sense it in you.
And it's actually I've seen it written that you do music at your own pace and in your own way, and that's probably
Yeah, we'll try to. But
stood
people
by
get
you.
annoyed with me. As long as it's all worth it. As long as it's worth listening to.
Yeah, definitely. Well, judging by the way your records sell, in 7 albums down, and every single one of them is platinum at least somewhere, and that's absolutely fabulous as an artist. You must be very proud of that record.
Yeah, really proud. I mean, I'm proud of everything that I do. When I do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability. I'd say the only album that I made a mistake on really was the Moment with Trevor Horn, because I wanted to sort of go into the proper pop thing.
It was around 2004, was that?
I think so. Well, it's about
Yeah.
about 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out, and it just felt awkward, really.
Yeah.
And no disrespect to Trevor, but I just don't think that I'm a real poppy artist, you know.
You know where you're sort of sounding best, what fits you best, what suits you.
Yeah, but you've got to try things, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like trying different food.
Yeah. That's a good way to sort of liken it. Yeah. Ian's worked with you on well pretty much all the way, hasn't he? You know. And now that and even on this latest album specifically, you know, I've read a lot about the album and so on. So, you know, why change something that works? I guess is the theory behind that.
Well, I suppose we said that after the Moment album, really, because you know we just said, well, why do something different when everyone wants us to do what we do best? And so we did. We just started to write and started to record. Well, we wrote an awful lot before we started to record.
Yeah. So although it is 10 years, isn't it, since your last album released to this one, I think, around about that sort of time. So when you think about that, I mean, you've probably been gathering material together.
Gathering dust.
I wasn't going to say that. Fabulous sense of humour.
No, yeah, I mean, we've got so many ideas and songs. I mean, we were like January. We're going to start the next one, and
wow.
I mean, we're still writing. I love writing. I write all the time. But yeah, there are quite a few songs that we've still got in our heads from before that we think will be really, really good for this.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'm going to ask you the question that no DJ should ask an artist, and that's, do you have a favourite on the album particularly?
Not really. I mean, I love all of the songs on this album. I love Conversation because it's one of those songs that you don't really know. I don't know what it's about. I wrote. The pen was in my hand. I wrote it down. I played it. I sang it, and then I thought, oh my God, what is that about? And I think everybody who hears it does. But it makes you really emotional, and there's something about it that makes you want to cry, whether it's happiness or sadness or whatever.
Yeah.
So I really don't understand that song at all, but yeah, it comes from me, but I don't know what it's about. And I love Picket Fence because it's very humorous, and you know, it's just about a woman who does in her old man. Watch out, boys.
Oh, well, thank you for for sharing that. So personal. And,
thank you.
Yeah, that's really lovely. And I was going to ask you a little bit about your acting because you've done a little bit of sort of West End type thing as well. Was it Anita Dobson and?
Yeah, that's the only theatre really that I've done was the Vagina monologues.
Yeah.
Cecilia Noble and Anita Dobson, and they were lovely. They were so lovely. I think I like filming more than I like theatre.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Because I think that film is such an immediate thing that it's like recording in a way.
Yeah.
That once that thing is there, then it's there, and you can't change it.
Yes.
And that's like a real challenge. Yeah, musically it is.
That's
You know, and I don't like to sort of think about what I'm doing too much. I just like to go in and do it, and I'll do it like maybe 2 or 3 times, and that's it.
Well, I recently watched a film with you in the Northern Soul film, and
we're looking very, very, very different.
you did look different. Yes, very much so.
With my pinny on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a film that was quite close to you, though, wasn't it? I mean, you knew for quite some time that you were going to be playing some role in that film, but you weren't quite sure what. And
yeah, and then I got the mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you know you're getting older, don't you?
Oh.
Listen, I wasn't prepared to do any of that dancing.
No? Really?
No, I can do sometimes I can do a bit of a slip drop, but not that. No way.
So you are fond of Northern Soul? You have history with Northern Soul?
Oh, I sort of grew up with Northern Soul.
Mm.
You know, like when I was like at middle school, and I'd go to the Civic Hall disco every Wednesday, and yeah, they used to play loads of Northern Soul, and so yeah, I probably had my first dances to Northern Soul tracks.
Wow.
I had my first kiss
to Northern Soul tracks.
Northern Soul track.
Do you remember what track?
It was Needle in a Haystack.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
And it was James Woodward.
James Woodward. James, if you're out there.
Well,
Lisa's
James, I'm
admitted it.
very sorry because when you kissed me, I ran away. You scared me. You scared me more than the music.
So, with the Northern Soul film, I mean, I can imagine that was quite good fun making it. There are lots of characters in that film, and
yeah, well, I only did like about 2 or 3 days on the film.
yeah,
And I didn't meet Steve Coogan until the premiere because we don't share any scenes together. You only ever get to meet people who you're in scenes with. No, but he seems a really straight up guy. You know,
Yeah.
he seems all right. And Ricky Tomlinson played my dad.
Yeah,
And he was gorgeous. The main day that I worked with him, he was making jokes all day, and everyone was just laughing incessantly all day long, and he kept everyone entertained. And at the end of the day, only after he'd left, someone said, "Do you know that it was Ricky's birthday today?" And he'd not told anybody.
wow,
And he just kept entertaining everyone all day long.
that's so
Because
lovely.
we would have got him a little cake. And
Sung him happy birthday.
yeah, and a bit of a bottle of champagne or something like that. He
Sounds
just
lovely.
toddled off on his own.
Because in the film, that scene where you're sitting on the settee, sort of to the side, and and your son comes in and
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to know what's going on, and somehow you manage not to answer his question for quite some time, keeps the suspense going, and that sort of
Yeah.
wonderfully acted, distraught look on your face. Great piece of acting.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was-
because do I say, oh, he's gone?
He's gone. Who's gone?
Yeah, where's he gone?
And it's just, I like the way that kind of sort of drew out a little bit in the film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really nice actually, because I suppose things like that, when you've got very emotional scenes to do, that you do sort of start to get on very much better with people than because it's a sort of honesty thing.
Yes.
Obviously you're not really, like, you're just pretending, but there's a lot of emotion involved in it. Yeah.
It's great that you can portray that emotion even though it's not there. If you see what I mean. It's,
Yeah, well, you try to sort of
think about things that make you sort of feel that way.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's great.
like
And-
Phil Collins,
Mm.
like that always makes me cry.
Ah, there you go. Any particular Phil Collins or just Phil Collins himself?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. What about other acting? Is there any other films and series that you've been in that you particularly liked?
Oh,
Mention
I've done quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
I did one of those Miss Marples with Geraldine
I saw that,
McEwen,
yeah.
and I had to be very posh, and because I speak like this all the time, that I think some people have actually seen that and they don't realise that it's me.
Wow. Can you give us a
No.
rendition of your very posh voice?
You do it faster than I'll do it.
Oh, I've got to be very posh.
Yeah, go on.
What should I say? I have absolutely no idea what
Well,
I should
just
say to
read
you.
some off your thing.
Okay. It also included the hit, This Is Right Time. This is the right time as well. There you go, I've read that off
Is
again.
that posh?
That's as posh as I get. I
It's
come
not
from
that
South
posh,
London.
is it? Let's have a look. Right. I'll have to put my glasses on.
There you go.
Good afternoon, Lisa. Firstly, I want to thank you for allowing me the privilege of interviewing you in this fantastic studio.
Isn't that wonderful?
There you go. Who is that?
Absolutely brilliant. I love it. And coming back to the sort of modern day, then up to date, and you said about album number 8, which is already on the way. I know that you're touring again.
Well, it's nearly written, but it's not recorded yet, so...
A little bit of work to do
Yeah.
on that one, just a little bit, because there's, I know how much work has to go into,
Yeah.
and especially when you're around musicians and yourself being such a perfectionist in music.
And such tardy people.
Tardy people. Oh dear. So, what sort of tour schedule have you got sort of coming up? You got
What,
some-
in the next year?
Yeah,
Um,
because we want to come
well,
and see you.
we've been touring
Yes, I'm aware of that.
for like
yeah.
just over 2 years now on this
Oh,
album.
you're used to it now then.
We're getting used to it. I don't think you ever really get used to touring, but it is nice touring because you always have a tour schedule, so you know when to get up, when to have your breakfast, when to do this. Like, close to, like, apart from like your sort of ablutions and things like that, you literally know exactly what you're going to do every day, and when you come off tour you think, oh no, nobody's telling me what I have to do. And it becomes quite weird actually after a while.
Yeah. Wow. And when you've got sort of lots of gigs together, that can be really exhausting as well. And
Yeah, if you've got quite a lot in a row. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to your tour that you've not planned yet, and
Yeah,
and
well, we
coming along
should
and seeing
we
you,
should
so-
be doing quite a bit next year, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to sort of contact you, be in touch with you. Can they find you on Twitter and Facebook? And
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's all there.
yeah,
Yeah.
good. So
Mm.
they just, I guess, just look for Lisa Stansfield
Yeah,
and can
yeah.
find you. That's wonderful. And you have a great website as well. So
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful
Yeah,
website.
they've done a brilliant job. Yeah.
So linking to purchasing your music and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Please.
Yes, a very
Don't
good
just
idea.
listen. Buy.
Yes, that's album is essential purchase material. So
Thank you.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Could I ask you if we can record some drops at all?
Yeah,
at the
that's
station?
fine.
That would be absolutely lovely. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah.
Can I write them down?
Beyond 2015, do you have any plans for? Yes. I just have one more question for you, Lisa, and that is beyond 2015. Do you have any plans or any idea of where you want to go next, or what you want to do? Are there any?
Well, I think really we have to see how the next year goes, and just go from there. Really.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love, ideally, at the end of next year to be, you know, sort of have the next album out and be sort of picking up in the US and stuff like that, and South America. I'd love if it worked out like that, but things sometimes don't. So we've just got to look and see.
Yeah. Just see.
But yeah, just try and do as much as we can, really.
Sounds great. Any more sort of movies or anything like that? in the
Not as
pipeline?
yet, but you know, if anyone has any good ideas.
And that's-
No, I was actually talking to Elaine, the Northern Soul director.
yes.
Today she phoned me just before I got here, and she is thinking of writing something else. It's not official yet, but she's not started anything. So, but she said, "Yeah, we'll get you a part."
That sounds good.
I said, "Oh, come on." Bit more glamorous than last time.
Not the mum this time.
Can I take my curlers out now?
Absolutely lovely. Well, thank you very much on behalf of Sound Fusion Radio.
Thank
and
you.
all of our listeners for sharing today with us some very personal things as well as the facts about your wonderful career. And thank you.
Oh,
for the
not too
opportunity.
personal.
Well, they were
Better
personal
hear me
enough.
when I get really personal.
Okay. I'll leave that open-ended then.
Okay.
No, sincerely, thank you very much.
Thank
indeed.
you. Thanks very much.